Good morning, Bulldogs, and welcome to another week of learning. I know last week kind of just flew by, but here we are today, and we're going to start getting into content. So today I wanted to start our novel study that I mentioned last week. I mentioned that we will be reading Treasure Island last week, and you should have had a chance to download that already. If you didn't, you'll definitely need to make sure that you do that. And the link is included on Canvas for you. So today we're starting our novel on Treasure Island, and this week you will need to read part 1, and that includes chapters 1 through 6. I know it's a lot, but it's very doable if you space things out. Along with reading these chapters, you will need to take your notes, your annotation notes for Treasure Island. I have a link included on the announcement page, as well as your assignment page. But I'm just going to go ahead and show you what it looks like. It's going to ask you to make a copy. And it looks like this, okay? This is for the entire novel study, so make sure you only do the first page for part 1. You're going to follow the instructions. It is very self-explanatory. You're going to use the spaces to provide your notes for your story. So you have a type here button. You're just going to tell me what's going on in the story, maybe a question you have, and we're going to get more into annotating today. Over here, you're going to fill out each of the square below, providing physical and character traits describing our main character, okay? And that would be Jim, is who I'm wanting you to describe now. Then over here, you're going to predict the theme of the novel. What do you think the message is? And then you've got some more typing here, okay? So I definitely want you to take your time and make sure you get your notes in for that. And you'll have one page for each part that we focus on, okay? And you also have a chapter 1 through 6 vocabulary page. That is not due until Friday because, again, you have all week to read those 6 chapters. So that one page is due on Friday. I gave it to you now so you can be adding to it as you read. However, I do have a chapters 1 through 3 vocabulary that is due today. We're going to read the first 3 chapters today in class, and you can finish that today. Okay. How am I getting your attendance for today? You are going to take a Treasure Island Kahoot, and that's how I'm going to mark your attendance. That is based on chapter 1 only. So if you don't get through all 3 chapters, that's okay. Just chapter 1 is what you're going to be quizzed over. And then you have a part of speech Kahoot, which we're going to cover parts of speech today as well. So if you remember last week, we were talking briefly about annotating and why do we do it, how do we do it, and so forth. So why do we need to annotate? You need to do that so that you can engage with your text. You can ask questions, you can find your answers, you can find meaning to unknown words, you can explore characters. It's going to help you focus on what you're reading. It has you stop and pause, and you can reflect as you're reading. That really helps you to understand the author's main purpose and meaning. You're also going to be able to remember this text a lot longer and later, quite a bit better because you've taken your notes. Now, how do we annotate? Annotating can look different for everybody. So your annotating will not look the same as the classmates. It shouldn't. Because you're going to comment on a specific phrase. Some of the novels that we read, I know in Treasure Island we have some, it is written with weird language. It could be written in a foreign language. So you would definitely want to comment on that and try to figure out what that means. You're going to need to jot down words that needs defining. Well, a word that you need defining may not be a word that somebody else needs, and vice versa. Okay? And then you can ask it questions for your text as you go along, hoping to go back and finding answers for that text. Okay? Overall, you're going to summarize your key ideas. So every few pages you can stop and say, okay, what did I just read? Why is this important? Why did the author write these pages? What's the main point? Okay? And today I've given you your annotation sheet for this story to kind of guide you and help you with this. Okay? Here is an example of annotating. If you will look at the top here, we have a poem. Old longings nomadic leap, chafing at custom's chain, again from its broom will sleep, wakens the fair and strain. What does that mean? Well, that's why this is highlighted and we've got things out to the side that kind of explain that. If it's an unknown word, you'll look down here. We don't know what this word means, so it's highlighted. There's a question mark over it. You can circle the words. You can color coordinate. So you've got some choices there. Okay, but it's going to look different for everybody. Okay. Now, we're going to be getting into some grammar this week. You do have a grammar assessment coming up on Friday, and you will need to know your parts of speech. And for the most part, this is all review, but I want to definitely take a moment because there are 3 that you may not have covered as thoroughly as needed in the past, especially with that gap we took. So as we remember, a person, place, or thing is your noun. The words that show action or your state of being, those are your verbs. The word that describes a noun, that's going to be your color, your size, your shape, your how many. That's going to be your adjective. The words that can describe your verb, how you did something, when did you do something, or where did you do something. That's going to be your adverb. Okay. Now, the words that take the place of a noun, those are your pronouns, and my computer is going off on its own. I think I hit my space bar. The preposition tells you where the noun is. It connects the noun to the rest of the sentence. So it's going to come before the noun, and it's going to show where or when that thing took place. Best way to know if it's a preposition is it's anywhere a mouse can be relating to a table. So can a mouse be under a table? Can a mouse be near a table? If they can, that's going to be your preposition. Okay. Your words that join groups or words, maybe compound sentences, those are your conjunctions. You might remember them as fanboys. You got for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Those are your conjunctions. You use them when you have a series of things or compound sentences. And it's good to be able to memorize them. Just because I see the word and does not mean it is being used as a conjunction. Okay. Now, words to express a strong emotion. This is one that you may not have worked with that much in the past. That's going to be your wow, ouch, whoa. Those are your interjections. Okay. And we're going to work with that a little bit throughout the week. But I definitely wanted to cover it, just give a brief overview of that. So if you have any questions on these, please reach out and be sure to participate and do the part of speech Kahoot. That will be excellent review for you. Okay. Now getting into our material today, we were going to work on context clues and dictionary skills to understand unknown words. So here is going to be a dictionary entry for you. We have nomadic. What does nomadic mean? Well, if we don't know, we're going to use our dictionary. We're past the point where we're going to raise our hand and say, excuse me, what does this word mean? No, we're going to be 7th graders and we're going to use our dictionary. We need to know how to use it. Okay? Nomadic. Here is an example. First off, you have the syllabication. How many syllables are in that word? We're beyond clapping and counting on our arm. Nomadic has 1, 2, 3 syllables. You also have a pronunciation guide. If you look here, it has the letter K in it. There is not the letter K in the word. That just means that's the letter that it sounds like. So it's nomadic. Okay? And then it's going to list your part of speech. Now, some words can be more than one part of speech. It depends on how it is used. And in that case, your part of speech will come after the definition. But in this case, nomadic only has one definition, so it only has one part of speech. Okay? So it's living the life of a nomad. It's wandering. And then some dictionaries will even give you an example of that word. Okay? So now I wanted to not go in there. It's blue. It all blends in. I wanted to also cover your, I wanted to cover our context clues as well. Sometimes it doesn't make too much sense to get a dictionary, or maybe we don't have a dictionary with us. So when you're looking at context clues, you're going to think of ideas. Every unknown word has one of these types of clues to help you understand it. You can inference. That means the meaning is not given to you in the story word for word. You have to take the story or the text and understand what the meaning is. So my example is, don't want to work with Ricardo unless you want to hear him talk about himself. He is so arrogant. What does arrogant mean? It means he's going to talk about himself. He's very proud. You could have a definition. The meaning of the word is actually going to be explained in the sentence or in a neighboring sentence. And that could be, Ricardo is so arrogant. He thinks he is more important than everyone else. What does arrogant mean in this sentence? More important than everyone else. Okay. You could have an example of the word, and that's where in the sentence or maybe a neighboring sentence, it'll give you an example of that word being used. So if you look at, Ricardo is so arrogant. He is always bragging about how great he is at sports. What is arrogant? He's bragging, right? You could use an antonym, and that is a word that is the opposite meaning. Ricardo is so arrogant. He needs to learn to be humble like his little brother. So he needs to learn to be humble. That means he is not humble. So arrogant is not humble, okay? Or you could use a synonym. That is a word with a similar meaning that is used in or near that sentence. So if Ricardo is so arrogant, he is proud, self-centered, and overbearing. All of those will work, okay? So what you're going to do today and this week is you are going to, this is the part 1 vocabulary page I'm pulling up. This one is due on Friday. See, I've even got it highlighted for you. You are going to go through and you've only got 6 words. Saber. What is a synonym of saber? What is the part of speech? And then I need you to give me a sentence that shows you know what the meaning of that word is. Okay? So you can use a dictionary or you can use your story as you read. Either one will work. Okay? Now, like I said, if you have any questions as we go through the rest of the day and the rest of the week with these assignments, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can still reach me at email or Remind. I still don't have a phone yet, but as soon as I do, I will get that to you guys. Okay? So good luck, have a great week, and we'll talk again soon.